Hello, ladies and gents. Xenoblade Hero here today, and I'll be talking about another top 8 Lincoln Qualifier match. This was moving on to the top cut, and I ended up getting paired against Rory, who's called Steelicanth online. Now, we actually knew each other, not face to face. This was the first time we met each other in person, but I battled this guy before because he appeared in one of my Pokemon Battle Club tournaments, and I think he won the competition there. So I knew I was up against someone who definitely knew their stuff. So I needed to be careful going into this match, and obviously being a top 8, there was a lot of pressure lying on this match because if I won this match, I would instantly be through to the finals in Manchester. Well, from team preview, Rory had a Morwal, Rotom, Hydreigon, and Ludicolo, which he brought to this match. I also believe in other matches he had a Gardevoir. I think you'll see that game too. And I can't remember what his last Pokemon was, I'm afraid. And I know that, obviously, as I said, he's a good battler, but also I needed to be very careful of that Morwal, because obviously my Mega is a Kangaskhan, and I feel that I do have a lot of tools to deal with Morwal, but I just need to recognise that Morwal and bring them out with me on the first turn. So let's start watching this battle. And from the start, my lead is, well, his lead, let's move on to his lead first. It is Ludicolo and Hydreigon. And I send out Kangaskhan and Rotom. So as you can see, this lead matchup, I felt was quite favourable. After all, that Ludicolo wouldn't exactly want to fake out me, or would just want to fake out the Rotom, because my Kangaskhan, generally most of the time, he would think that I have a faster fake out than him, so there is no point fake outing the Kangaskhan, because I'm faster and I can fake out whatever Pokemon I want, to be honest. So, if I'm honest, in the very first turn, I expected him to possibly even switch out that Ludicolo, or either way, I knew he thought his probably would keep that Hydreigon in and try to attack something with it, because possibly the Rotom. Because if you think about it, my Rotom is quite a big threat to his Mega, and possibly, yeah, one of the most threatening things in my team to it. So anyway, from the first turn I switch out to Gardevoir, because I feel like I need to deal with that Hydreigon very quickly, and my lead matchup wasn't particularly great for it. I did expect him to lead with Morwal, but I believe, what is it, sorry, Hydreigon, anyway, was going to attack me, but possibly with a Draco Meteor. So if he hits my Gardevoir with a Draco Meteor, obviously that's not much of a problem. But as you see, that is certainly not the case, and we continue. Now, I trace Swift Swim, which is largely useless because he has no rain element on his team, so that didn't matter too much. I Mega Evolve here because I don't suspect he would fake out my Kangaskhan. I don't think he has any reason to be fair, because he would obviously anticipate the faster fake out unless he knew my team, but he goes for the fake out on my Kangaskhan. Now this is actually really problematic for me. Even though I could possibly withstand that Draco Meteor with my calculations, the fake out may have managed to chip me over for the Draco Meteor to KO me, so I was incredibly worried, and it was very item dependent here if he was going to aim a Draco Meteor at me. But no, he goes for the Dark Pulse instead and locks himself into Dark Pulse. He obviously feels this is a better move to lock himself into, and it does hit my entire team neutrally, so if he expected me to switch into my Ferrothorn or something, which I did carry with me, then he made quite a good read there. But either way, he manages to score 2 critical hits, and I just hang on with red HP, and I'm very thankful for that. But this did tell me that his Hydreigon was in fact Specs, because there's no way no way it was a Life Orb variant, because as you see in a minute... Oh, sorry. No, it was a Life Orb variant, so apologies about that, but yeah, he had a Life Orb variant, he didn't have a Scarf or anything, and obviously that critical hit made me think, oh, it perhaps was a Specs variant, so excuse me about that, I got that completely wrong. But either way, and now he protects because he doesn't know what set my Gardevoir is running, and he's very right to do so because I am Scarfed. Now, what I considered was he would possibly switch into Morwal this turn, because both of my 2 Pokemon are I don't know, they're not exactly the greatest around Morwell, but I did double target that Ludicolo slot because I thought that if Morwell switched in, I'll probably be doing about half damage to it anyway, because it's not exactly the bulkiest thing in the world. So if I double target the Ludicolo, I'll outspeed it majority of Ludicolos and get a one-hit KO in the meantime. As well, if you might manage for some reason leave that Hydreigon in, I can still Dazzling Gleam it. Dazzling Gleam gives me just enough chip to reliably KO it with return, which turns out to be the case, and as you'll see, the amount of damage racks up and I managed to KO that Ludicolo turn 2. That eases in my Rotom H quite a lot better than it's more reliable. Like I can switch it in a lot easier, and now he switches out the Morwell, which I expected the previous turn, but obviously he wanted to preserve it and Mega Evolve it to keep its bulk intact, which is fair play. But either way, his lead right now, I can't really leave Gardevoir in on it, because Gardevoir is my win condition. He could easily just switch out. Well, it's not exactly my win condition, but I would really want to keep hold of it, because it does have Hidden Power Fire on it as well, and that could do a decent amount of chip to Morwell, but I did suspect as well his Hydreigon would switch out here. I mean, he wouldn't want to just... He knows that I'm scarfed by me going really quickly, well, and he would obviously suspect that I'm scarfed, sorry. So, either way, I switch out now, expecting him to switch out and possibly attack my Gardevoir because it was scary, like, against that Hydreigon. So he does switch out his Hydreigon as I suspected, but I switch my Ferrothorn in particular because if it takes any attacks aimed at Gardevoir, it would hit me and take Rocky Helmet damage from, which would be very very dangerous. It would probably knock him over a quarter of his health would be knocked out in one turn. But either way, he switched out his Rotom H there, which is an incredibly good move. Now my Ferrothorn is immediately threatened by it, and it actually puts me in a lot of danger. But I switch out to my own Rotom H because I feel that's a better answer for the possible Morwell that would stay in and do whatever it wants. And also it takes less damage from Iron Head if he wanted to finish off my Kangaskhan. But no, in fact he does go for the Iron Head on me, and that was aimed at the Gardevoir, which is fair enough, and he takes quite a lot of damage from Iron Barbs. Fair chunk. Now from here I decide to switch out, obviously, because that Rotom H, I don't really want to be around that. So I switch out my Gardevoir. I didn't think he'll be aiming anything else with me with the Morwell, and I suspected he could switch out his Hydreigon here. But no, he decides to protect instead. Maybe he feels his Morwell was in a good position once the Pokemon was removed, but I don't know, he did kind of seem to forget that my Rotom H was there, and that could have been quite dangerous to his Morwell switching in, and he may as well get some momentum faster by switching out rather than leaving it in and giving him an extra turn in danger and having to be quick on his toes about predicting. But either way, now he is put in a bad position, because going into this turn I managed to take that Overheat, and that Morwell, either way, is actually threatened. He wants to keep it alive, and he switches it out here. I feel that locking my Gardevoir into Dazzling Gleam here is good, because I thought Hydreigon was likely to switch out, and he wouldn't want to take an Overheat and KO his leave his Morwell in to be KO'd. So I felt like it was perhaps a very safe play to choose the Dazzling Gleam and the Overheat, because regardless of what he does in the second slot, he's in a lot of trouble unless he manages to pull off a double protect. So he switches out to the Hydreigon, and I managed to cleanly KO that with a Dazzling Gleam. Now, unfortunately, that does leave me overheating into the Rotom H, but that even at half attack, I am running an Expert Belt Rotom with quite a high amount of attack, and I still believe that my overheat would manage to KO like all but the bulkiest of Morwells in this position. He manages to Thunder Wave my Gardevoir, but thankfully it's largely useless at this point. If my Kangaskhan was switching in, that would have been a very good call, but I felt there was no need to switch it in particular. Now I protect here because I suspect that his Morwell is going to also protect, and I think his only way he's going to win this is by constantly chipping at my Rotom. So I figured I'll just leave the Gardevoir in to possibly deal some chip to that Rotom H, and I didn't really need it much anymore. But this perhaps turned out to be a bad play, because he just stays in anyway and uses the Sucker Punch, which KOs my Gardevoir, and I don't gain an awful lot from that. That turn is actually quite favourable for him. But I switch in my Ferrothorn here, and now he protects, which puts me in a very awkward position because I need to overheat that Mawile because nothing else in my team can deal with it. Or at least because I can't leave my Ferrothorn out in front of the Rotom H, otherwise it would just overheat me and KO me. So now this is just, he managed to double protect here, which he didn't risk earlier, but I feel he definitely needed to do that, and I overheated him again, and unfortunately it did not obviously work out, and he manages to overheat my Ferrothorn. And now this is actually looks like I could lose from here, because all I have is my Rotom H and my Kangaskhan left. Now if he plays this well, or manages to KO my Rotom through any means, or I miss an overheat or something, he could win this. Even though it's a small percent, he could win this, so I was a bit worried because there was a chance that there was no way of me winning this game. All I could do with my Kangaskhan this turn is protect, because I needed it to KO that Rotom H and not have to rely on a mirror to take it down, which I'm not particularly keen on. So I protect here, and I suspect Moore was going to Sucker Punch. I thought he would Sucker Punch the Kangaskhan because he would suspect that I wouldn't have any particular moves to take anything down. Like, I didn't think he would like Sucker Punch my Rotom. I thought he would aim for the Kangaskhan, which surprised me, and he does hurt it a fair amount because obviously it's my win condition, so I guess fair play to him for doing that. And I managed to overheat his Mawile, which pretty much seals up the game from here. As long as that Rotom H isn't exceptionally bulky, I should be able to KO it and get the victory here. So yeah, that was a really good game one. And I would like to thank Rory because he played that match extremely well, and that was actually a really close game. That definitely could have gone either way. So I needed to be very careful there, and thankfully being very careful and safe in my plays, although it hindered me in some parts of the game. I felt like overall I wouldn't have been able to win that match if I wasn't overly cautious about it. So yeah, that was a good game, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for listening. I hope to see you soon.